everybody, and welcome to this week's video where I'm coming back to a theme that I've explored before, and that is the whole idea of well-being. And then you know that I've said in previous videos that well-being is really becoming, if you like, the theme of the moment for obvious reasons. We're all coming out of a pandemic, the world has changed, and schools and the communities within them need to look at how we change to adapt to this new normal. I don't even like the word normal really, it's the new. We are in the new and we've got to see what that means. So what we've done is we've set up these consultative groups, and these consultative groups have been meeting for the whole day, and we've met 3 times already. And that's because when we started exploring well-being, we've realised that it really is something that needs to be unpacked. It can just sound as sort of a sort of tokenistic idea, but if you really want to explore it in depth, you've got to look at, in fact, what we've discovered is the whole notion of community and everybody's place in it, and how everybody got supported in terms of staff and students and parents. And we've started a whole process to explore that. And also we've taken that further and started thinking about the fact that what we should do is think of all of us as entering a community, bringing our stories to it and enriching it, and actually being, if you like, accountable to the community as opposed to, if you like, the kind of normal structure of schools, and really unpicking what that means. And that has led to a whole series of conversations on wellness, on how we build community voice in all different aspects. We have developed, as I told you in previous videos, something called the ISL Charter, what that's going to mean in practice, how we make much better use of the spaces around us, the outdoors, what learning would look like, the nation of pastoral. And also it's had a big, somebody who's been very important in these meetings is the person next to me, who some of you will have met in some way. This is Warren, he's the new head of HR. And he's been running some of the sessions on wellness and exploring what that means, mostly in terms of staff, but as we come to pastoral, that's also going to have an impact there. So Warren's just going to tell us a little bit about some of the things he's been exploring, and then I'll come back to some of the broader themes. So Warren, tell us about some things you've been exploring on wellness.
I think it's been quite a nice journey we've been on.
Yes.
We've been looking at, as you said, a multitude of conversations it's led us into. I think we started first with kind of looking at what wellness is as a whole in the community. We looked at kind of what ISL has done right in the past, things we've forgotten about in the shift and changeover from COVID and we'd like to bring back. And it was kind of bringing in that kind of force of everything we've done right, but then also looking at, well, where are we going and what can we do better? Those conversations also, I think, shifted a lot into, well, you know, it's not a one little area or grouping, it touches everything, wellness. And how do we then get the buy-in and information from the community? So I think one of the biggest things that have come out of it was looking at a wellness committee, which is everyone in the community, including leadership, staff, parents, even learners, and bringing that little group together where we can continue the great conversations we've had.
Yeah, I'm just going to just come in there. We're not going to call it a committee, but it will be a grouping.
Agency.
We haven't even worked out what it's going to be called, and it will have students, parents and teachers there looking consistently at issues of wellness. Now you might think, okay, well what does that mean? What does the word wellness mean in practice? That the kind of things they're looking at, and we've explored some of those as well, haven't we?
And they've been interesting because we've looked at small aspects like what do staff do for socialization. We look at kind of how do staff feel in a day, how are they treated when they're off sick, how do we support them, how do we support a staff member going through struggling in their personal lives versus work life. We've even looked at things like the workspaces, which was a really nice conversation about how our environment affects how we feel in the organisation, how we feel about being at work, and just our mental capacity for the day. And then we also looked at kind of the interactions. How does a staff member feel when they come into the organisation? So how do we start them off happy and keep them happy? Was a big conversation for all of us. And it's brought a multitude of ideas and different areas.
And also the way that then moves into, if you like, broader aspects of school is when we begin to look at things like curriculum. So what's true for staff is also true for students. I would say even more true for students, because for them the pandemic really has been a shift. And one of the things that is undoubtedly true is pastoral needs more time. But if you're giving pastoral more time and you're looking at what the kind of activities are that support that, then that starts asking questions about curriculum and how should curriculum change and what's its support and what's the best way to adapt in these situations, which is the kind of way the discussions broaden out. I mean, just as a very simple example, we all know that forest school in primary is something that has a really, really beneficial effect for our students, and it's something that really matters. Yes. However, you get to grade 6 and it stops. We've been thinking, okay, is that really something? Should we be incorporating aspects of forest school into subjects? What would that look like? That clearly has a wellbeing aspect. And that's just an example of how a wellness conversation could just broaden out and broaden out. It does feel a little bit like I'm peeling an onion, yes, and a whole series of areas come up that need discussion. And just so that you know, as parents and students, we will be having a meeting when we're inviting some parent and student representatives. That will be for a whole day. It will probably be in mid-June. Yeah. We are negotiating that now. So we're really looking forward to seeing you then and inviting you to be part of this really positive conversation. I think that's a good note to think of to finish on, actually, because one thing that's very clear is everyone involved has really been incredibly proactive, yes, in terms of ideas, and you know, I can think of lots of really interesting ideas that have come out of this. Plenty. And really positive as well.
And I think that's also a key point is conversation, because it's been a good conversation that's continuing into the future.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you, some of you, not all of you, but some of you, representatives at the next meeting we have on this. Thank you very much.